So, Arsenal fans, last night we finally got to see our three signings play for the first time together. Declan Rice came on for half an hour, Timber got a good amount of minutes as well, and of course, Havertz scored his first goal in Arsenal colours in just his second game. It was a really interesting match. I really enjoyed it. I stayed up until 4 a.m. to watch this, and it didn't disappoint. We played such nice football. And obviously, with it being pre-season, it doesn't really matter what the result ends up being. It's more about getting your players playing with each other, new players gelling, getting that chemistry going, and fitness levels. And we looked sharp. You could tell that maybe a few players have been on holiday and they're a little bit rusty. But I was just so excited to see Declan Rice, first and foremost. I still cannot believe we've signed him. Honestly. Declan Rice, the first time we've spent over 100 million, the first time we spent over 80 million. Pepe, 72, that was our record, right? And now we've blown it out of the water with 105 million. We've got Declan Rice. Yeah, truly incredible. I'm still just unbelievably in a bit of a daze about it. It's brilliant. And Havertz with his first goal, beautifully taken. And it's the funniest thing because the night before, there was a skills game thing where a bunch of Arsenal players and a bunch of MLS All-Star players played some skill games, kind of like the ones you see in FIFA, to be honest, or FC, I should say now. And Havertz was dreadful, and he was getting hammered online. I saw so many tweets with multiple thousands of retweets, mainly Chelsea fans laughing because he did some sort of volley shooting challenge and didn't score a single one of them. Hit the post and bar a few times. It wasn't the best display. And, I watched it and I thought, oof, that's not good. We're going to wake up in the morning to a lot of rival fans laughing. But then the very next night, he scores a half volley. And it's beautifully, beautifully buried by that rocket of a left foot. Havertz obviously isn't a number 9. I think it's very clear. I know that Arteta will potentially try him there. But seeing it yesterday or last night, I mean, it kicked off at 1:30 in the morning. It was a really late one for the UK people, but he seems to slot into that advanced midfield role very nicely. Obviously, we didn't get to see Declan Rice play the full 90 minutes. I have an idea that potentially we're going to be seeing Declan Rice as the number 6 holding midfielder with Ødegaard and Havertz kind of just in front. So can that be achieved? Can Declan Rice do enough on his own? I think he was a little bit taken away with just how much possession we have. You could see it every time we had the ball for a long extended amount of time. He was asking for the ball. He wanted it. He wanted in on the action. Of course, at West Ham, he's not used to that. He was used to defending and trying to keep possession. But at Arsenal, it's different. It's what we do. We just have possession. The goal that Jesus scored was absolutely incredible. I did not expect it to go in. The angle looked like it was going to be a cross. It looked like he just pinged it back post and someone was hopefully going to get on the end of it. But then it just kind of hit the post and went in. Probably the best goal of the night, technique-wise. Big season for Jesus. For me, if you're going to be a number 9 for Arsenal, we've had some fantastic number 9s over the years. Since Thierry Henry, obviously, it's been maybe a little bit less impressive because he's set the standard so damn high. But with Van Persie, since then, it hasn't been great. And I feel like Jesus last season did okay. I'm expecting at least 20 goals this season. That's what I think he should be aiming for, at least 20 goals in this team in all competitions. But what a goal that was. And I really wanted to talk about Jorginho as well, because I'm really learning to love this guy. Look, I knew he was a good player. Obviously, everyone knows that Jorginho is a very good player. There's a reason he got that move to Chelsea. There's a reason he played for Napoli originally. And there's a reason why he's won so many trophies, not just with Chelsea, club level, internationally as well. He's a very, very good player. But I'm hearing so many incredible things about the way he's integrated into the squad over the last 6-7 months. And the fact that he's already one of the leaders and one of the favourites there. What a guy. And I'm hoping he stays. There were reports that he could be on his way to Lazio, but I think he's here to stay. And I think Partey is too. We'll talk about Partey later. But with Declan Rice coming in, we've now got 3 central midfielders competing for 1, maybe 2 positions. So this is the strongest it's been in a little while, to be honest. Now, before we get into the match and talk about the 5-0 win that we got, I just wanted to quickly touch on what's going on in the window now that we've signed 3 players and we are looking to move on a bunch of players. There have been a few links that we're not done yet. Kudus from Ajax, fellow national teammate of Partey, of course, for Ghana. He has been heavily linked over the last few days as effectively the backup to Saka. But once again, a player that can play in multiple positions. And we've got Sami Mokbel here. I think he writes for the Daily Mail. Daily Mail. Seems quite reliable, this. Apparently that we have been in touch with his people. So it could be that this might be something that happens in the next few weeks once we've sold a few players. I think it's very clear that we are going to have to move players on now if we want to do more. We've spent over 200 million already. That isn't going to be... We're not going to be able to do more than that if we don't sell anyone. Of course, FFP it's a balancing act. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're not done yet in terms of incomings, but it's going to heavily rely on Pepe leaving, Balogun potentially, who I thought was average last night, if I'm honest. It's so difficult because I do think he's going to be a better player than Nketiah. We'll see what happens. Lastly, we were linked with Diaby many years ago, and it's come up again this summer. And then, of course, Aston Villa have come in and made an offer. But now, Al Nassr have put in a massive €43 million offer, which I think is still lower than what Leverkusen will want. But the worry here is that Diaby is going to be receiving an unbelievable wage offer here, and it wouldn't surprise me if he will go. And I think, if you were to ask Arteta what he thought about that, it would be a straight no. It's very clear now at Arsenal we have this policy where if you don't instantly want to sign for Arsenal, it's done. You have to want to play for Arsenal so badly. If there's even any remote interest in delaying talks or using Arsenal's offer to leverage a different move, it's over. Arteta, Edu, the team only want players that really want to be there. And I don't think Diaby will want to be there. If he's able to get triple the wages elsewhere, I get it. I do. I get it. But it does kind of suck, doesn't it? Let's have a look at what happened last night. We'll talk a little bit about the game because I've got to say it's a little bit odd to me. The whole American soccer thing, it's just a bit cringe to me. The All-Stars thing, yeah, great idea on paper. There's no way it would work over here in the UK. I can't imagine Liverpool letting their players go and play a game with Manchester United players and then throwing in some Tottenham and Arsenal players. Like, it just wouldn't work here, although it sounds fun. Of course, it would be amazing to see all of the best players play for the same team, but it's so American. The pre-show, the post-show, watching the media and the presenters off the side of the pitch talk about it. Oh my God, I really struggled. I did have to mute it. But the game itself was really good from an Arsenal perspective. We didn't even play that well in the first 20, 30 minutes. We did seem to be a little bit slow, but we were 2-0 up after half an hour and just cruising, despite the fact that the All-Stars actually had quite a few good chances. And they were managed by Wayne Rooney, who has come out after the game. Someone asked him, "What did you learn from that match?" He said nothing. I've learnt nothing. I'm sorry, how are you losing a game 5-0 and saying I learnt nothing? Of course you learnt something. Of course, he's not going to go anywhere in management with that kind of attitude. I'm sorry, I know it's just pre-season. Technically, this wasn't a friendly, by the way. It's an exhibition match, so it's not technically a friendly. But how can you be battered 5-0 and just come out and say, "No, I didn't learn anything tonight"? Of course you did. Maybe he just didn't want to answer it. Maybe he just doesn't care. He's probably getting a big bag to be the coach for the day. And I love Rooney, by the way. What a player. But I think that stinks. Like, that is just rubbish. He could have at least said something a little bit funny. Something like, "Yeah, don't mess with Arsenal." I don't know. Like, just something. In terms of the lineup, it's a good lineup, but what really got me excited is this. Look at the bench. I've never seen squad depth like it at Arsenal. This is unheard of. On the bench last night, with a very strong starting lineup, we still had Havertz, Ødegaard, Martinelli, Timber, Tierney, Balogun. Marquinhos seems like a very decent player. Declan Rice, Tomiyasu, even Trusty, who was Birmingham's Player of the Year last year. I didn't mention Carl Hein because he's not going to be, in the first team anytime soon. And I thought he looked a little bit dodgy, if I'm honest, with the ball at his feet and his passing. But that is a ridiculous amount of depth. When you look at the first team, which has Ramsdale, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior, who is a baller, by the way, Vieira, Jorginho, Trossard, Saka, Jesus, and Ketia, it's never been like this in a long, long time. I would actually say, in terms of overall ability of the squad, this is the best it has been in the last 20 years. There is no way you can convince me otherwise that maybe since the Invincibles era, we haven't had a stronger overall squad. And the fact that it's such a young squad as well, sprinkled with a few veterans like Jorginho and now Partey, who's 30, of course, and Jacques has departed, and that was obviously a lot of experience that's gone. But to put a team like that forward, normally I'd be looking at the bench going, oof, we don't have much on the bench because all of our best players are on the pitch. Now, I'd argue that the bench was actually just as strong, which is really, really good to see. I'm so happy about that. We don't have any possession stats and things like that, but there's a few specific mentions. Timber, absolutely fantastic when he came on. He only got half an hour as well. He came on with a couple of other players, and then Declan Rice came on as well. Timber was playing at right back, but he wasn't, okay? He ended up playing in central midfield. I saw him on the left side of central midfield, and then I saw him on the right wing. At one point, he'd gone from centre-back and basically ended up as a striker. He did a full-blown sprint through the middle of the team. That's brave, okay? And yes, we were winning comfortably, and yes, it is pre-season, but that was just incredible. But his first touch, the way he wants the ball, he's surrounded by players, doesn't matter, give me the ball, turn, pass, move, beautiful. Really impressed with Timber. And I'd actually say he surprised me more than Declan Rice. I already know how good Declan Rice is, okay? So maybe that's part of it. And I've only seen Timber a few times. I've only heard the rumours that he's, a fantastic player. He plays for the Netherlands for a reason. I didn't realise just how good his technique was. I think he's going to be a very, very special player for us. But Rice was smooth, not saying he didn't impress me. Very good first game for Arsenal, just comfortable on the ball, knocking it around. I love it when he goes on those driving runs. Didn't get really too many opportunities to do it, but when he did, he's such a powerful runner. It's a bit deceiving because he's quite, I want to say he's kind of slow moving. I think he's quite a big guy. He's not small, is he? But when he gets going, he really does get going. He's quick. We talked about the Havertz goal. Otherwise, it was a relatively quiet game from him. But I'm so glad he got that goal because for sure, he would have been feeling the effects of the wrath online if he saw it because of the skill games stuff. Ødegaard was magic. Some of those cross-pitch passes are just outrageous. Like the accuracy. And it's not just the accuracy, it's the power as well. He just flings a pass straight to a player's feet. And the amount of times that got us on the break, he's just so, so good. And one player I haven't really mentioned too much is Marquinhos. What do you guys think? I'd love it if you could leave a comment and tell me, do you think Marquinhos would be enough this season to provide backup to Saka? Because it's very clear that Arsenal are still looking for a right-sided attacker, whether it's Kudus, whether it's Diaby. I don't know how I feel about Marquinhos because there's glimpses of that Brazilian brilliance, but I do wonder if it's a little bit much for him. I don't know. He's a raw talent. There's no doubt he's got an amazing ability there. Is he good enough to step up? If we don't get an attacking right-sided player, is Marquinhos worth keeping in the squad this season? Potentially. Trossard went off injured, but I wanted to mention how good he was in this number 8 role. He reminds me of Santi Cazorla a little bit. He's got that kind of stature. He's very good with both feet. His goal was class as well. I've heard his injury is just a little bit of a knock, so nothing too serious. Definitely worth taking him off just in case. Kivior, I watched him in the skill games, and he might have been our best player. His technique is frightening. And he's just come out of nowhere. Like, how have we found Kivior? It's a huge, huge thing that scouting is just not talked about. The fact that they found Kivior, and it's just so out of nowhere. Like, we signed this player that, you know, when Arsenal sign a player, you know there's something there. But I just had no idea just how good his technique was. The way he moves into midfield, honestly, I think he'll end up being better than Zinchenko. I really do believe that. And I'm not saying that Kivior is a left back, because I don't think he is. I think he's definitely capable of doing that inverted role. You can clearly tell he used to play midfield, or has played midfield in his professional career. He's a left centre-back at heart, I'm sure, but the way he does carry the ball, I might actually go out on a limb here and say he might be one of the most exciting talents at the club. I'm genuinely so excited about Kivior. I really like him. Just seeing those movements, the way he's so comfortable passing the ball. I'm expecting big things from him. And lastly, the new kit is growing on me. I hated it when the leaks came out. I saw it and just thought, that looks grim. But seeing it on the pitch, I don't know about you guys, maybe some of you will disagree, but I actually kind of like it now. I'm going to get it at some point, and I'll see what it looks like in real life. But there's something about it. It's very in your face. I liked the blue text. I know that's only going to be cup competitions next season. I think just the Champions League. We can't use the blue text the text on the back and the number. I don't think we can do it in the Prem, but I think that helped break it up a little bit, because it is a lot. Like, you see it and you're like, whoa. But I kind of dig it. I think I like it because it's so out there. But there is my review of last night, my thoughts on what's going on around the club right now. Hopefully you enjoy these kind of update videos. I just talk. If you have enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like rating. And cannot wait for the next game. Hopefully we're going to get to see a lot more of Rice. Kivior, I want to see him more in that left-back inverted role. And Timber really, really excited me as well. It's just such a good time to be an Arsenal fan. It really is.